Welcome to Music with Mrs. Avery. Hello everyone. We are going to continue learning about our line and space notes. And in this lesson, we are going to look at some of the patterns between our line and space notes on the treble clef staff. Before we get started, you are going to need a blank piece of lined paper and a pencil. So go ahead and pause this video so that you can go and get those materials. Now that you have your materials in front of you, I would like for you to take your pencil and trace 5 of the lines on your piece of lined notebook paper. So when you're finished, it should look like this, except yours should be in pencil, not marker. Make sure that you are tracing those blue lines so that you have nice, neat, straight staff lines. If you need additional time, please go ahead and pause this video. Next, I would like for you to take your pencil and draw a treble clef all the way to the left of your staff. So remember, that first line starts a little bit above line 5. You're going to draw a straight line down to line 1. Then you're going to mark that 4th line because your backward S is going to cross right where that 4th line is. Okay, and then we have a backward C that comes up right in between lines 2 and 3. And then that backward C wraps around just past line 2, just like that. Then you're going to add on your little tail here. Awesome. So the first thing we are going to do is we are going to draw in our line notes. But before we do that, we are going to look at the space that we have to draw, because I want you to really space these out. I want you to have a lot of space in between your notes, and you'll see why in a moment. So we're going to start with our note on the first line. Now, even give yourself a little space here, because maybe we'll draw some more notes in there. So we're going to draw our first line note here. And then we're going to give some space and draw our next line note. And then we're going to draw our next line note. Just make sure you use up all your space. You're going to want lots and lots of space. Okay? So just double check, make sure you have a note on each line of your staff. Okay, make sure that you have space between each of your notes. Okay. Also make sure that all of your notes are the same size, and they should be, because when you trace your blue lines on your notebook paper, it gives you nice, straight, even staff lines for this assignment. Excellent. Now, before we draw in our space notes, let's get our hands out and let's count our lines from the bottom to the top. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, great. So if we're looking at our hand, well, here's a line, right? We start with a line. But what comes next? Does another line come next? Or actually a space, right? So let's go back. Let's look at that first line. So we have a line, then we have a space, then we have a line, then we have a space, then we have a line, and so on. So if we look here, we have a line, and then a space, and then a line, and then a space, and then a line, and then a space. So if we use our hand, well, we know that there's a note on this line But when we are trying to analyze our space notes, we know that there is a note in this first space. So that note would go here because it would come after that first line note. Right? So now we have a line note, then we have a space note, then we have a line note, then we would have a space note. So we're going to draw our space note in between. So let's go back and look. So we have a line note, a space note, a line note, a space note, a line note. Well, what's going to come next in our pattern? A space note. Great job. Let's go again. Line, space, line, space, line, space, line, space. That is correct. So, the first pattern we see when we draw all of our notes in order on the staff, we see that the notes are in the pattern of line, space, and that will forever and ever repeat. So if we started to draw notes that extended off the staff below or extended off the staff above, we would still follow that pattern of line, space, line, space. Now, let's look at this first line note. Well, we know this note. It's on line 1, and then we would use our sentence to help us remember it. Empty garbage before Dad flips. Let's do that together. Ready and go. Empty garbage before Dad flips. Fantastic. So that note is N-E. That is correct. Awesome. So let's skip to this next line note. So we're going to skip the space note. We're going to go to this line note. And the line note. Empty. Garbage. Yeah. So we could follow that pattern with our sentence. And we could label all of our line notes just like this. Empty. Garbage before Dad flips. Well, what about these space notes here? Hands out. Let's count our spaces from the bottom to the top. Ready and go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good. So, what do we use to help us remember our space notes? That word that rhymes with space. Thanks. Let's spell it and go. F-A-C-E. You got it. So, let's go ahead and label our notes just in order as we had drawn them before. F-A-C-E. Awesome. So now we see a pattern of line, space, line, space, line, space, line, space, and so on. But now look at the pattern of the letters. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. Well, if we extended this, so we have a line note here, well, then we would have a space note next. Do you see this pattern? It's the alphabet, you're right. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's right, this note would be G. Excellent, and we can actually do the same thing but go the opposite way. So we see we have a line note here. So what would come before that line note in our pattern? A space note, yes. And how about before space note? Another line note, that's right. Such an easy pattern to remember, line, space, line, space. Well, now we're just going backwards in the alphabet to analyze these notes. So we have G, F, E. Well, what comes before E? D. And what comes before D? C. Awesome. So you guys were able to see two different patterns when we draw all of our notes on the lines and spaces. We see that the notes are drawn in the pattern of line, space, but then once we label them, we see that they follow an ABC pattern. And in music, we label our notes A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then we repeat those same letters over and over and over. So in the music alphabet, there are only 7 letters, A through G. Thank you for working so hard in drawing your line and space notes and then learning about the different patterns that we create when we draw our line and space notes in order, both the line and space pattern itself and the alphabet pattern. And this is so important when we have to analyze notes that fall below the staff or above the staff. For your assignment in Google Classroom, I would like for you to take a picture of the work that you completed with me in the video lesson. Thank you for all of your hard work, and thank you for joining me.